Yeah, no, but difference in opinions are hilarious sometimes.
I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah, no, well, I guess no, I want to tell the story.
Okay.
So I was in a meeting with my it was like we had like a lunch. It was like one of those virtual lunches,
Oh yeah.
and which I mean they're fine, but we were talking about favorite shows, and somebody mentioned Ted Lasso, and I was like, is anybody like thinking like, is anybody laughing out loud? Like, 'cause that's what we talked about before. I'm like,
yeah.
it's a good show, but it's not funny. Like it's not like The Office
You're
where
not
I was
gonna
like
laugh
literally
out loud
laughing out loud
at home by yourself.
Yeah. And Ted Lasso, I never laugh, and everyone was like, yeah. And then my boss was like, I don't know, I laugh a lot. I'm like, okay.
So you're the one guy that was like, I don't think the show is that good.
Yeah, I
And
just
they're
shit
all
on
like,
his opinion, basically. To be fair, he like he worked in London, so like he knows soccer. So I think we compromised. I was like, it might just be because you're like soccer better. Maybe there's like jokes that I don't get.
Yeah.
I did win though because my boss's boss worked with. He was like a roadie for Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, which is amazing. And I jumped the gun. Probably shouldn't have done it that fast, but I was like NSYNC over Backstreet Boys 100%, which is a fact. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I say this, I don't mean that Backstreet Boys are bad. I love Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
I love Backstreet Boys. NSYNC, I just love more. It just, I feel like they're more talented. At least just Justin Timberlake alone.
Hold on. I
Just
think
Justin Timberlake alone.
Justin Timberlake alone outshines the rest of those guys, though, right? Isn't that the point?
Yes. Well, JC, kind of, but
Yeah.
it's really Justin Timberlake. But the problem is that Backstreet Boys really doesn't have that guy. Like, they don't. I mean, they're all good.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
like,
I
they're
know
all
what you
good
mean.
they don't have the star. They don't have, like, the Harry Styles or
Yeah.
the JT.
Well, I guess you could say Nick Carter, but the moral of the story is
kind of Aaron Carter was, like, more popular, like,
that's
at his
true.
peak.
Yeah. The takeaway is that you had a Ted Lasso and a Backstreet Boys faux pas.
Well, that one I won,
team.
actually, because my boss
Oh,
was
you
like, I worked
won.
with both of them, and he was like, I think NSYNC's better. And I was like, yes. And he was working closely with them, so
I saw
that one I won. That
I
one
saw-
I took a chance.
I saw JT once in real life
What?
at a resort once, and I must say he's an attractive man. Just even when he's just like chilling.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's yeah.
I subscribe to this theory. I think it was Tim Dillon. There's like a comedian that said this, which I think is so funny. He's like the kids who grew up on the Mickey Mouse show, or the Mickey Mouse like Funhouse or whatever that show
Oh, yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
It's like Ryan Gosling,
Ryan Gosling.
Britney Spears,
Yep.
Justin Timberlake. He's like, they're not real people. Like they were created in a factory
yeah.
solely to be produce content.
Yep.
They're not real. They're robots.
They're manufactured to
Manufactured.
entertain the world.
Yeah, they're just too perfect. They're
Yep.
too good at their jobs. Like, there's no way these people really exist in life.
All right, conspiracy's done for the day.
Fine.
All right, so what's up, guys?
All right. Yeah. Welcome. Welcome. Sorry
We're
for
back.
that side, but yeah, we're back.
What
It's
episode?
been a couple weeks.
7?
I
8?
think it's 7. I think it's 7.
All right.
Yeah, we've got. It's been a couple weeks, so we've got some news.
A healthy hiatus.
That's right.
Now we're back with some news. Big thing today. So Netflix released their top 10 global website. And I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, you can clearly tell like Netflix made this website.
It's good. It's good.
Because I mean,
well, it's. I mean, it's
okay.
simple.
It's simple. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I think what it does is it serves a very specific purpose, which is to drive marketing traffic over to Netflix.
Yeah. Well, let's specify before we get into this, like what it actually is for the people who like haven't heard this story. So the website's called What's on Netflix. So it's completely separate. It's not a part of the streaming platform. It's actually just a separate website called What's on Netflix. Actually, I could be wrong. Could be a different website that I'm just googling.
Oh
and it's-
no! You
No, this is completely wrong. What is it? What is it? Why can't I look up? This is Google's fault. This is Netflix's fault. I should be able to
This is
just
like
Google Netflix and it should come up.
You just went on to some like knockoff website that's like
Yeah,
trying.
what the
to-
fuck? I should.
They're like I think these guys just do some sort of like a API to
This
Netflix.
is a failure
you're-
on Netflix that I can't Google Netflix viewership data and
It's
their
called-
website doesn't come up.
It's called top10.netflix.com. And It looks like the homepage, except you don't see anything. It's just like a.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like a list.
Yeah. So my curiosity with this website. So it's top 10. It's separate from the streaming app entirely, and it's just like it says, gives you the top 5 films.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you all basically the metrics you do get on the streaming platform. With the exception of that, you can look at this historically, so you can go back to like it's weekly, so you can actually go back and see like what was popular in prior weeks.
Yeah.
And you can see it by country, and you can see the viewership numbers, that's the big one, I think, is that they're really expanding that. So check it out when you guys can. There's a lot of other features, but I think it's
pretty
thoughts.
cool. Like it's kind of like a dashboard that they probably have been using internally for a while, and they're like, you know what? Let's just expose this to the world, because all it does is help promote the stuff that we already have.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like they're making decisions on these. These are historical pieces of information.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does 2 things. Well, finish your thought.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's quite comprehensive. It has like TV, English series, it has like movies, what's top 10, all the tags, different countries that they're in. Like if someone is a diehard Netflix watcher, then they're gonna go to this pretty regularly. So they're gonna be like, okay, what's on, right?
Yep, 100%. And I think it's good for the fan. It's good for people who watch content. I'm curious how they market, like, because the average subscriber, I feel like, is not going to ever find their way to this website unless it becomes like people talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they're not really advertising it. It's not on the platform. Most people just go on to Netflix and then they make a decision. They're not like, oh, let's go to the top 10 website. Even if they do know about it, they're probably not going to like. Who's going to really take the time to like get their laptop or go on their phone? And actually, they might. I don't know.
So,
People do that with Rotten Tomatoes, I guess.
I think this is a pretty like technically strategic thing that they're doing. So if a website wants to be more relevant in searches or on like the web in general, what they need is a lot of traffic that's directing to them, and it builds like the website's authority. So if they have sites like this, like because you've seen like other news sites that have like top 10 things that are streaming on Netflix right now. Like
Right.
the more of those that there are, the more that it increases the authority and the optimization of bringing Netflix to the forefront of the search engine. So
Right.
I think what they're doing here is they're essentially like artificially creating more traffic so that it boosts the authority of Netflix, which is smart. So if like anyone searches like what to stream, this will probably like pop up, you know, and
Well, I hope it
direct
does.
yeah.
Because it didn't when I just looked it up.
When
Look
you went
at
on that
Netflix viewership
knockoff
data, and it
site.
still didn't come up on the first result.
Well, it takes time. So like the authority of a website in terms of like search engine optimization, it takes time for them to build that authority. So I think this is just their way of like, it's their way of doing marketing online without actually doing specific marketing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But
No,
I mean,
I
it's a good
agree.
move. I think it's a smart move.
I think everything is good about this, and also especially you have to think about like talent too. I think this is really good for talent because talent used to make stuff, and then it would just go into the Netflix ether, and they'd be like, "Is it good?" And Netflix would be like, "Well, we're not going to cancel you."
Yeah.
So like they don't really know. They're like I don't know how my show's doing. So now this might be a good tool for talent to go and be like,
Oh,
this is
absolutely.
like the countries that my show's really popular in. And like I think that's really like talent is going to really like this.
Oh
a
yeah,
lot.
100%. It's very transparent for talent.
Also, 2 things I'm noticing as I'm on it. First of all, top 6 of the films in English, 2-in-1 featuring my boy Nicolas Cage. I can't even keep up with his movies. This man is in everything.
Damn.
Love it. But interestingly enough, I wanted to click on it because obviously it's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I have
there are no
I have a
links?
funny meme that I want to tell you about after I mention this. But I click on it and it doesn't take me right to Netflix's website to watch it. That's interesting.
Why
They
wouldn't
should fix that. That's very interesting. That it's literally just like a faux pas. It's like just a random website that you can't link. It doesn't redirect you to Netflix. That
Wait.
seems like something that like if I should be able to click on a show, see 2-in-1.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, popular in like all these countries. I should be able to click on it and should go right to a trailer
Wait,
or it should go to like right to the website.
That's very true. Why wouldn't they do that?
I wonder if that's strategic or they're just like they just were trying to get the website out there and they'll get to it eventually. Or
Interesting.
I don't know. That is an interesting play.
Yeah. I mean, it's still new, so.
I did find this funny. Like, so my buddy sent me this like Venn diagram. I have to find it, but it was 4 quadrants. It was like bad, like makes bad movies is a bad actor, and then makes good movies is a good actor. And they showed like the actors that are like kind of in like the in betweens of all these.
Yeah.
So like Leo was in the good movies, good whatever.
Yeah.
I forget. Adam Sandler was in the bad and bad. Who was it? I forget who the in-betweens, but then right in the middle of all of them was Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it's hard to pin down.
He's been a bad actor. He's been a good actor. He's been in bad movies, good movies. And it's so true. He's done like everything.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But anyway, side note. But yeah, so this is interesting. Like I definitely...
I'm curious to see how it changes over time.
Yeah.
Or if talent start to use it as a means to like select new projects, or maybe negotiate better terms. Like if all the historical information is there, you know.
I just wish this was available for all the platforms. You know, like there's no and Netflix will never do this. Like the reason why Netflix can do this is because they have all the data they'd never share with like a Roku or like a Google to like make a universal all the streaming platforms version of this. Like that's what people want. That's like what's really good for the viewers. And it will never happen probably because that would require all the streaming platforms to share all of their data.
Yeah.
Which would never happen.
I think them doing this is gonna is gonna start having pressure on the other services to do something similar. You know, like because they're saying like, you know, I mean they set the standard a lot in this space, right? So I can totally imagine other companies doing it. Now that I'm thinking about it, like Netflix used to use their subscriber numbers and their and their ARPU and all that in their reporting, but now they're transitioning over to streaming hours because their subscriber numbers are going to like slow down in the US, which they've already had.
Yeah.
And their ARPU is going to go down over time because they've saturated the more expensive markets.
Yeah.
And so the only way for them to grow is through lower cost regions. So their ARPU is going to go down too. So I think they're realizing that their numbers are not going to look good if they use those metrics. But if they use streaming hours, then it's a better like proxy of like performance.
Right.
Yeah.
And people kind of saw the horseshit of like, what was it? Like the subs, like all of these subs who enjoyed our film and like it was like had to watch the first 2 minutes. Like
no one agreed with
like,
the metrics. Yeah.
Nobody really believed them. So like the minutes viewed is like something you can't manipulate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's good there. The one thing I'll mention before we move on is about the other streaming platforms getting the game, and I think the Variety article that talked about this mentioned this is that like other streaming platforms could do this, but they would look like utter garbage compared to Netflix just because of the total subs.
Yeah, you'd have to scale that bad boy.
Yeah, so like
logarithmically.
a good HBO Max show, like comparably, like if it's like 80% of subscribers or like, you know, I don't know, it had a view share, like a total views watched on the platform of like 50% or something.
Yeah.
Still wouldn't be as high as something that has like 25% share on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean the
So,
maximum that
like-
they can get is like 60 million subscribers.
Right. So like the minutes viewed, you know, you can't really compare them directly, which is annoying. It's not like and I think they were talking about this with ratings. Ratings I think were adjusted a bit for like people were on like an equal playing field. There were factors they could adjust the ratings for to make everything equal versus now they really can't. So
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. Like this is almost more, and I agree with Variety on this, and I don't always agree with Variety, is that it's kind of like a flex too. Like it's a pretty much a
100%.
giant flex being like, look how many freaking hours
Yeah.
of people are watching this, which I am curious actually, like how this translates to like
Oh,
box office.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, if you could measure not a box office success, not by money, but like how many, I don't know.
Or maybe you can do a conversion like
Like how do you get the hours viewed of people, like hours viewed in a theater? Like you have to do all the theaters multiplied by the average like showings multiplied by the,
Yeah,
the
I
show like length.
You can kind
Of
of
the
back
the
into
movie.
a proxy box office number, right? Hours
You could probably make
viewed,
an estimate.
Average
Yeah.
average hours per view.
Because I see like
something like
Red
that.
Notice, and you're like 149 million.
Did you watch that
views.
movie?
No, I kind of want to see it.
It's probably one of the worst things I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
I have two comments to that. First of all, it was very much like it just seemed like every spy heist movie I've ever seen in my life. So it was like I was never super excited about it because I'm like I've probably seen this movie in different reincarnations like
Yeah.
500 times.
Well, it's like the epitome of actors just kind of phoning it in for a paycheck. That's like
Yeah, I could
like,
see that.
They could gather like a lot of great writers in a room, a lot of great cinematographers and everything employed here, and then they just paid the actors to do it, and then everything else was commoditized.
It's Ryan Reynolds and The Rock. Like those people are going to be on screen.
Yeah.
And kind of Gal Gadot. I wouldn't say Gal Gadot as much, but The Rock and Ryan Reynolds are probably one of the only actors in Hollywood that can get people to go to theaters by
Yeah.
themselves.
Right.
There's not many
Right.
actors that can do that. So like you can pretty much just put Ryan Reynolds and The Rock in a movie,
Yeah.
and it could be like the worst movie ever, and it'll still be good because
It was
it's not good, but like people will enjoy it because they like the actors and like
Yeah.
their personalities are fun.
It was a bad movie.
It's bad. I might see it
It's
just because
just
there's like
so-
no like my opportunity cost is so low. Like
Yeah,
if I watch it and I hate it, I'm like, all right, whatever.
It's just like it's like a like a what's the word, like childish movie.
Really? Well, but
I mean-
like I don't like the term childish because there are like children movies that are amazing. You know, like Finding Nemo is technically like a childish movie,
No,
but
no,
it's
no,
so
no.
deep.
That
like,
is
I don't know.
It's a children's movie. But
Yeah.
when I'm saying childish is like it's kind of like
It's really surface level.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's intended to be just kind of like okay,
Stupid.
let's just see what's on. You know, it's phoning it in. Anyways, let's talk about my favorite topic, NFTs.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, also, I'm just gonna say I don't think Gal Gadot is a good actress. All right, continue.
Whoa.
I don't think she's that good.
we'll just
She's
brush
not.
aside that one.
She can't even get over her accent, man. Like every movie she's in, she still has her Israeli accent. She can't
mean,
even get rid of it.
And tell
Like,
that to Arnold, but then he wasn't the best actor.
he wasn't the best
so-
actor either. She is very equivalent to like Arnold in that she's just a beautiful person to look at. And she's okay playing herself in movies.
All right, well, we're getting dangerous territory here, but anyway,
said it.
so
I think there are a lot of people in Hollywood that agree.
earlier in the month, I believe, earlier this month,
Facebook, yep.
yeah, Quint. Oh, so
Oh well,
first of all, Facebook
Yeah.
launched Meta, and there's a whole brouhaha about that, and
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really appreciates what they did, and like I don't think that it's just a move because they're trying to get ahead of it, and I think most of the NFT and metaverse type people are like, they're not the right company to have spearheaded this. You
Yeah.
know, like we don't want Mark Zuckerberg tainting this shit.
right.
And a lot of people are like, oh, it could have been like Roblox. It could have been, a gaming company or something.
Yeah.
To
They're all
head this.
competing though. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
it's like they're all kind of starting. They're like all trying to create their own website in what the metaverse will be, which is going to be the new internet, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, the fastest way to make something uncool is to like label it under Facebook. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
I do-
that's the thing that your mom uses.
I know. Well, that's the thing that's kind of funny is I see all these articles are like, this is clearly Facebook trying to get away from the conflict that's happening
Yep.
like in whatever, and I'm like,
Yep.
I mean, to a certain extent, possibly, but I also think, honestly, I think Mark Zuckerberg is freaking done with Facebook. He's like, I don't want to deal with social media anymore. I want to
Yeah.
get into the future.
There was-
like, I don't want to deal with this crap. Like, I bet he wishes Facebook could just be Reddit. I mean, just be like basically a free for all.
Yeah.
But he can't because everybody uses Facebook. Well, actually, I feel
Dude,
like nobody
honestly,
uses Facebook though. Actually, at the same time.
Yeah, I feel
But-
like I don't know anybody right now our age that uses it, but
No.
I mean, there was an article that was saying like it was polling people on the internet about their impression about Meta, their logo, Mark Zuckerberg, and by far the worst rating was what's your view on Mark Zuckerberg? So like nobody trusts this guy.
Oh yeah.
It's at that point where he should probably step down because he's impacting the way that the
They
company
could use
performs.
they could use a new face. Like
Exactly.
even if he wants to be on the board and like influence decisions in the
Yeah.
background,
He can't.
Yeah, he
just
shouldn't
can't
be in the
at the
front.
head. Yeah, I think it's
No.
time. I mean, even though he's still young, I think it's time to just for him to step away a little bit.
I agree. That meme came up, or not the meme, the like short the short video of him being like, well, yeah, I mean that was when I was human. I mean, I am still human. And it's just like, dude, stop feeding
Yeah.
your own meme, man.
The dude,
you're
is,
not
is
real.
Not human.
He's not
He's a virtual person.
Seriously.
Anyway, so so in related news, then also earlier this month, Tarantino he released NFTs based on a portion of an unreleased version of the script of Pulp Fiction, which is like any cinephile's like holy grail. Like, okay, I want to own this thing.
Yeah.
Because not only is it unreleased, but it's exclusive and only one person can own it.
It's also going to jump in value if you're just thinking about like
100%.
the value of it. Like in 20 years, like old movies are going to be much more valued just because the way entertainment is changing. Movies are never going to be made like that ever again.
Yeah.
So like to have old cinema like that and it like unreleased stuff like that, especially once Quentin Tarantino dies, that thing's tripling and like quadrupling in price. So
Yeah,
it's a good
for sure.
investment too.
I wonder. So how many pieces? But regardless, he like made a ton of money on it. So
Yep.
let's see. Where's the value of it?
Which is also being sued, by the way, by Miramax.
Yeah, I mean that was bound
is
to
not gonna-
happen, right? I mean because
It is,
Miramax
but
has
they're
the
gonna
distribution rights to it.
Yeah,
and
they're
so
gonna lose,
typically
though.
in these contracts they have like merchandising rights and all that.
Yep.
But none of these contracts or none of these companies know legally how to deal with NFTs as a piece of merchandise right now. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not in his contract unless specifically they put it in his contract that if he releases any NFTs, then the distribution company gets a piece of it. But
It's
I
gonna be
doubt that.
tricky. It's
I
gonna be
doubt
tricky.
that. Like not even like Google knows how to do the
No.
the legality of that yet. So,
Yeah.
but I just thought it was interesting. Like that's
Well,
a thing now.
It's definitely
know?
it's definitely interesting. I think Martha Stewart is also like selling NFTs. Like a
Yeah.
lot of celebrities are now selling NFTs of like their stuff.
It can't just be of people's stuff. Like there's memorabilia value, which is what we're alluding to, but
Yeah.
it can't just be that at some point because that's relying on the fact that somebody else is gonna pay more for it, and that inherently means it doesn't have value, right? So it can't just rely on that. It has to have some sort of like a utility, right? Like so, Stoner Cats, that's another NFT.
Yeah.
They dropped NFTs to raise funds for an animated series, and if you own one, then you get to watch the series. And Ashton Kutcher is in it, and they actually just released episode 2, and Ashton Kutcher did like this like Zoom meeting with the community and all that. So I think that's pretty cool. Right?
That's
'Cause
interesting.
it
Like
gives-
NFTs become like you actually get something with it.
yeah, but
Like-
also it's a way for like creators and filmmakers to fund their projects.
That's interesting.
And yeah, and that's what the company that we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help strategize for filmmakers to like, how do you start thinking about NFT strategies to help you with your projects? That's essentially what we're doing. But yeah, it's an interesting space. We'll see what happens. I think the legality still has to catch up.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting.
I think it's definitely something that every entertainment company is going to need to think about. As some studies have said, like you would need to figure out the strategy, but really it comes down to like anything you can monetize any piece of intellectual property with NFTs. It's like it's just like a magical revenue stream now that you can create.
Yeah.
And people will buy it even if you're not doing the
Dude.
cool stuff that you were talking about. Like you could like just like get a frame of a movie and sell
there's
it and you can make money.
There's literally endless possibilities.
Endless
here.
possibilities.
So we go to a school, and
Wonder which
I've
one.
I've taken plenty of classes this quarter, and we've had probably like 5 or 6 executives from big media companies come in and say they're specifically working on NFTs.
Yeah.
Like specifically, like we had some guy from maybe I shouldn't I might not be able to disclose this, but like there's like studios that have like intellectual property that they're trying to do
Monetize.
NFTs for and all that kind of stuff. But like literally every executive in Hollywood or media is like looking into this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, fascinating. I hope to be part of it, and we'll see.
It's going to be a big thing regardless. So the
Yeah.
more we can know about it,
Yeah.
the better, I think.
Yeah. Anyways, on to movies. So
Yeah.
we both watched Dune, which was I thought it was good. Okay, I generally
Yeah.
go into the theater not expecting too much. Like I try
Yeah.
to I try to keep my expectations like neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was great. And like usually my test to see if a movie actually was like good enough for mainstream audiences is like what my wife thought. And she actually thought it was great. Like she never read the books or is usually into it.
Is she a normie, as they would say?
She is a normie.
She's a normie?
She's not
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
industry at
That's
all.
good. You need normies' opinions are what matters more
Yeah.
than most people. than ours,
She really
honestly.
liked the cinematography, the music, and she thought the story it was slow at the beginning, but then it picked up, and then once it picked up, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
But yes, she's confused, but she's confused in a lot of movies, so I don't fault her for that.
Shitting on your wife on the pod.
But I mean, I was a little bit confused too. But I overall thought it was a decent movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's not something that's going to stick with me for a long time, but I'm at least excited to see where the next one goes.
Yeah. I'm honestly, so I didn't like it as much as I wanted to, and I'm definitely in the minority. I liked everything that you said. So I liked the cinematography. The music was great. Like I thought the acting generally was pretty good.
Yeah.
Honestly, the acting was really good, actually. The reason I hesitated was because I'm just not a huge Timothée Chalamet guy. And the reason I say that is because I think he's just moody all the time.
Yeah, he's got to
Like-
prove to me a little bit
Yeah,
more.
I don't think he has the charisma of like the movie stars of the past, like Will Smith
You know-
or like Bruce Willis. I don't know. Like he just doesn't give that presence to
Yeah.
me. You know?
My theory is it's because he's not jacked. Like
Well-
so I think throughout the course of this trilogy or this series of movies, he's gonna get more jacked as he like matures into a man.
Maybe.
So I think
is that possible for him though? He's
I
he's a
think
small
so.
dude
I mean,
generally.
he was so thin in this movie that it almost seemed like they kept him thin. You know
Maybe.
what I mean?
He's always been skinny though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but
That
I
might
agree. He doesn't have like an action hero like vibe just yet.
Yeah.
but
And
we'll see. That's why they had Jason Momoa in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
They needed it.
You kind of like there's like a charisma about movie stars that like I don't know if people want any, like I don't know. There's this idea of like what is masculinity now, right? And so like can you have masculine like movie stars? Is that like appealing to modern audiences? I think it absolutely does.
Yeah.
I think it's ingrained into human subconscious
Yeah.
to like strong, assertive men.
Yeah.
To both, it's more appealing to both men and women. Men want to be that person, and women want that guy. But I think culturally, it's not. I think we'll get back to the place where like we get back to more manly.
It's
movie
definitely
stars, but
changing.
I think like more feminine dudes are now more in vogue right now. I think that's probably going to shift, honestly. But my thing
Really?
with I think it's going to revert back.
Yeah.
But the thing is Timothée Chalamet, I think like as an actor, and I got to see more of his movies to be fair, but he just seems like he just plays like a moody kid, like in every movie I've seen him in, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't see like
That-
the Leo range here.
That
Like
Netflix
I don't know.
King movie, he was kind of a moody kid.
Yeah. He kind of just plays the moody kid. It's like,
Yeah.
that's fine. But, like, if you want to be a good actor, you need to be like the Leo who's playing, like, a gangster in one movie and then playing, like, a drug addict in Wolf of Wall Street in another.
Yeah.
You know, on drugs that
You know
he's
what
never
it
taken
is?
before.
It's audiences
you know?
these days want the moody kid. It's the
Yeah. So we'll
that's what they
see.
want.
But my big complaint, I'll get to, like, my big annoyance with Dune was not really Tim. It was more of the fact that I could tell it was a book. Because you could just tell there were moments that, like,
They just gloss over.
they
things.
just gloss over. It's like his
Yeah.
powers, like they never explained his powers. Like in the beginning of the movie, well, I mean, it's at the beginning of the movie, but at the beginning of the movie, he does the whole hand thing, and he meets this random woman, and he puts
Oh,
his hand
yeah,
in, like he passed the test. And you're like, what are they freaking talking about? It was stuff like that at the beginning of the movie where I was like, they're not explaining anything.
Yeah, and why did he need to pass the test?
Right. And in the book, I just knew. I'm like, in the
Yeah.
book, they explain all of this. They have to. And so it bothered me the whole movie. I
Yeah.
couldn't get over it, and it really annoyed me because otherwise it was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was very much like they couldn't pack the entire. They wanted to fit everything in the book into this, or at least everything in the first half of the book, into this one movie.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the time.
Yeah.
And that's what bothered me the most. They were just like
I guess-
stuff like that would just happen, like the
I-
voice.
yeah,
It's
I
just
was
like,
willing
what
to
the hell
give-
is the voice.
I was willing to give a bit more leeway, like in the sense that I was similarly confused and like was like, what are these concepts that I'm missing here? But instead, I took it as okay, then maybe I'll go read the book,
Yeah.
and then like understand it, and then be ready for the next one.
Yeah, there were
But,
also like there were some things that like started like relationships that started like they were supposed to be strong and they didn't matter. Like there were two characters in
Yeah.
particular that what's his name again? Paul, the main character.
Yeah.
Like when you see it was like Jason Momoa's character and there was like one other dude's character where he was like,
Yeah, the
oh
general
my
dude.
god, and like, he like goes over and
Yeah.
hugs them. It is like moody teenager excited way.
I think
He's not even
apparently-
excited. But then you're like, oh, they have a good relationship, and they have like 2 scenes together.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like,
I
what
think
the hell is going
apparently
on?
they're supposed to have bigger roles or something like that, but
In the
clearly it
books.
wasn't. Yeah,
in
it
the
wasn't
books.
communicated.
Exactly. There's like one dude whose like eyes went back into his head, and you're like, "What is that?" Never explain it. And you're
Yeah.
like, "I know he had. There's something There's and then when the doctor like betrays them, you're like, "Is there a significance to this at all?" And it's like,
Yeah.
I talked to
Can
my
we,
buddy.
can
who
we
read the
at
book,
least
and I'm like,
agree with the fact that like at least it was a good movie for the theater? Like
Yes.
it's at least a cinematic experience that was deserving of a ticket.
Yes, and honestly, I really do appreciate somebody making a like cinematic like 4-quadrant film that's not a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like,
Yeah.
people need to take more
Well,
shots like that.
This is like the precursor to Star Wars, right? Like I think the original Dune book was one of the inspirations for like Tatooine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, so
Yeah.
like when you think about it like that, like oh, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But I mean, the box office was I think break even.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, yeah, because I don't know if it ended up making money because we don't
Well-
know. It's weird because it came out on the HBO Max.
Yeah,
for
like how much
free.
did they get made whole
So-
for HBO Max? So
Right.
we don't know, but I think it was enough for them to be like, all right, let's do number 2, which is expected since they ended it with the expectation that there was going to be another
Yeah.
one that was going to come out.
I do think they made a mistake making it. I mean, I think they had to because they made a blanket statement for all the movies, and if they started cherry picking movies to only be in theaters, then it would get I don't know, it would get kind
Yeah.
of messy with the talent because then if they made a deal with one movie and then they caved for Dune, then the other talent would be like, well, what the is my movie worth? So
Yeah.
it's kind of tough, but I think they would have made so much money if it was. That was the event movie like people saw and were like, I have to see this in theaters.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's like at least like 50 million people that saw it on HBO Max.
There's only
that are
a
like-
few movies this year that got me super excited. Speaking of movies that didn't get me excited though,
Yeah.
Eternals.
Freaking Eternals.
I mean, I haven't even seen it, but like I'm looking at the numbers right now. So apparently, Eternals declined 61% from its 71 million debut in the first week, and the second week is even lower. And it was leading it was leading Clifford the Big Red Dog, which is
Congrats.
apparently, huge feat. But I mean, like, I don't think they're making money on that movie at all either. So,
No.
like, it's surprising how much I was not excited about watching.
I don't
this
think
movie.
anybody was. And I'll give you, I don't know. I'll give you, I think the main reason is that, first of all, I think Marvel's getting a little cocky. Like, I think they're like, we have a formula, we're going to keep doing it, and everyone's going to like it forever. And I think people are starting to catch, I think regular audiences are like, okay, we've seen the same
Yeah.
type of movie like 500 times. I
Yeah.
think we could use something new. To be fair, Shang-Chi was like very much formulaic to that, and a lot of people, including myself, loved it still. So, I don't know, there's a mix. But then it's also, you introduce 12 new characters into one movie. How are we supposed to connect with all of the 12 characters? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, like, there's
think
no way. You can't focus on,
To play devil's
I don't know.
advocate, I think you're supposed to understand the Eternals as like a unit, like the Fantastic Four, almost like it's supposed to be a
Yeah.
unit. But I mean, even then, they have like all these stars doing it, so you kind of like want to root for like a main,
yeah. I
But
think
anyways,
yeah.
like I still have to watch it. So
I
I mean, I'll drag my ass to the theater and watch it.
Are you? I might wait for it to get for free on Disney Plus. To
Really?
be honest, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
we'll
know.
see.
I don't know. We'll see, but it
But,
doesn't seem like
okay,
something
so
necessary.
in terms of movies that I actually watched and enjoyed, so Old was that M Night Shyamalan movie. That was like they're getting old on a beach, and then obviously
M Night.
The problem with that movie
M
is
Night, you son of a bitch.
it follows the exact same M Night Shyamalan formula that he's been using for almost every movie for the past like 20 years.
What do you mean?
It's like a high concept, and then you're kind of like, oh, like what's going on, and you're confused for half of it, and then there's a massive twist,
Right.
and then they explain that twist in like the last 5 minutes, and then you're kind
Yeah.
of like, oh, okay. That's it.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
like it follows the exact same formula as some of the previous ones. So like I mean it was interesting when you didn't know what was going on, and then the moment they started to reveal it, you're kind of like just like, oh, okay, well that just
Yeah.
like removed all like magic from there. But anyways, so that was a horror movie that I didn't think worked very well. But a movie that was really fucking good was this horror thriller movie called The Night House that came out in 2021. Super like it flew under the radar. I didn't even know about it.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, and I so I looked it up, and it was featured at a film festival and then distributed by a small distributor in select theaters. Didn't make that much money or anything, but it was a great horror movie. Like if you're into horror movies, it was good. It was not only scary, but it introduces like this like concept of like supernaturalness that is very very interesting take.
Yeah.
So if you do want to watch a horror movie, I'd recommend it. It was pretty good.
Do you watch it on Halloween?
No, I didn't. I watched it on the plane.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
yeah, when I'm too scared, when I'm too much of a pussy to watch something at home by myself, I'll
Can't
watch
get
it on
scared
the
on a
plane.
plane.
Exactly. There's too many people around.
That's
but
a
yeah,
good point. That's a good point.
That's my recommendation for this week.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, support movies like that. You know, like
I agree. I think people need to watch more. I don't know. I don't know. Movies, aren't as big of a part of people's lives as it is for ours, so I get it. Like, they're not going to watch, like, casual moviegoers aren't going to be really into, like, the kind of artsy things. But,
I mean,
there
it
are
was
some artsy
shot-
films that are so well done, though, and are, like, most people enjoy them.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not popular.
Yeah, I
The
mean, I
people who do see
understand
it.
also that like most people just don't enjoy watching horror thriller movies.
Well, that too.
That's just like a
Horror is, like, kind of a niche. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a niche, and the people who do like it are really staunch watchers of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you are, then you should definitely watch it.
I'm going to go on a bit of a rant. Why the fuck are we still saying that M. Night Shyamalan is a good director? I don't understand. Like, every movie I've seen of his, besides The Sixth Sense, is terrible. Like, it doesn't
So-
make any sense to me. Every studio is like, oh my gosh, M. Night Shyamalan, what a thing. And everybody knows his name. Everyone's like, he's the best director. He's right up there with Christopher Nolan. He's made
So-
like 2 commercially successful films.
He
And the rest
had
of them have
a-
been so freaking weird and bad.
He had a formula that at the time when it came out was super novel,
Yeah.
and then he enjoyed the success of that. But I don't think anyone now thinks he's like a great director because he's done.
They better not.
He's like bombed too many times for
He's bombed
for
so
people
many
to
times.
for people to say that he's a good director. But the only
That's what
reason
shit on Avatar.
is because his specific Avatar.
he ruins.
We don't
that
talk
movie.
about that.
He ruins that.
But the only reason why is because the way that he films movies like that, they're cheap and they always make a lot of money. So if
Yeah.
people want that and people still go out to see it, some studio is going to pick it up and
Because
make it.
they're more likely to make money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like Old, for example, the one
bitch.
that I was just talking about.
yeah.
Okay, so its budget was 18 million. It was I don't want to say. It was not the best movie, but it made 90 million. That's a 4x return.
Yeah,
Like
it's
more
like, why
than
not?
4x return, right?
It's like, why
so
not?
why not?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fair. He just makes movies that it's a good investment, I guess.
It's like one of those things where it's like you're not going for the big flashy budget movies, but if M. Night comes here and says I can guarantee you like a certain amount of profit off this movie, and just add it to the slate. You
I
know?
mean, the Avatar movie made money. Like,
Are you serious?
yeah,
Oh, 'cause
it
people
grossed
went out to watch it.
319 million, and it was budget 150.
I mean, Glass as well. Like that movie. Let's see what it did here.
That's fascinating.
I mean, that's the only reason, right? Like, how could you possibly keep giving this guy this, like, the ability to do the same ass movie all the
yeah,
time?
he really annoys me.
Okay, look,
not like, I mean, I honestly, The Sixth Sense is one of my favorite movies,
dude.
but
okay,
everything else is terrible.
Okay, so
Everything
Glass,
is so bad.
Glass with Samuel L., Bruce Willis, and James McAvoy.
Oh,
Budget
yeah.
20 million, box office 250
Yeah.
million.
All right. I'm wrong. I mean, I don't know why people are going out to see these movies, but they are apparently.
It's a
Like-
purely economical move.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's so weird.
Right?
I don't get it. I don't
Hey,
get it.
as business
but
people, we should appreciate the business grind.
yeah, fair. I mean, the movie industry is really hard to make money. Honestly,
Exactly, like-
people think that it's not that hard if you don't really know about it, but
Look,
most movies far and away make
quote-
lose money.
I'll end with this quote about the film industry. The quickest way to be a millionaire in the film industry is to start with $1 billion. except if you're M. Night Shyamalan, because you could just apparently make money.
Dude, you can just apparently make money. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, we'll rant over. Well, next time.
Yeah. It's definitely not. I don't know. Stop watching M. Night Shyamalan movies, guys. They freaking suck.
Anyways, on that note, we'll end there. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right. Thanks for watching. Peace.